Welcome back to Sound Bites, the show about good people doing good things in the food and drink industry. Today, I get to welcome Sunil Sarwal of The Small Monsters. Now, The Small Monsters isn't the latest craft brewery. It's actually a branding and packaging design company that specializes in the food and drink space. Company is based in Nova Scotia, but has helped businesses near and far achieve their goals. I was first introduced to Sunil by Ted Grant, a food entrepreneur whom I deeply respect. And for those avid followers of Sound Bites, Sunil's team designed the packaging of Libra, non-alcoholic beer, whom we featured last week. So welcome, Sunil.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your personal background and how the company started.
Sure. I've always been the kind of person that loves playing with words and pictures. I knew I wanted a really creative job if I was going to be happy in life. And so I ended up studying communication design at NASCAD right here in Halifax.
Perfect.
After that, I went to Montreal, worked for different companies for a few years, and I ended up starting my own design agency. And because I wanted to work in something that was more tactile, something I could feel, and something that was real, I got into packaging design. And from packaging, I moved more into branding. And then shortly before the pandemic hit, I moved back to Halifax, my hometown, to help take care of family. So I ended up closing down the agency, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, and then you really do focus on food and drink, it seems, in your packaging. So why food and drink?
It's a huge passion of mine. It's something that I really love. When I had the agency in Montreal, we worked on everything. But I realized that what I really truly enjoyed and where I really shone was in food and drink. And it's a very technical field as well. So it's good to be just an expert at one thing and know it really well.
Yep. There's a lot more to food and drink packaging than probably most people think, I'm guessing, in terms of degradation, all the sorts of things that people wouldn't necessarily think of, I'm sure.
That's it.
So when you looking at your brands and what you've designed, they evoke kind of feelings, so how does like this idea of storytelling factor into your kind of process in terms of coming up with the package?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I had the agency in Montreal, we used to just do design and just do the outside of the packaging. And over time, I started to realize that having a beautiful box is just not enough to ensure the success of my clients. People will buy a beautiful package once. Well, how do you make them come back and buy it again and again and again? How do you make them love something? And the way to do that is through storytelling and making an emotional connection between your target audience and the product itself. And that's what branding is. It's finding who that target audience is, creating the story, a real honest story that makes that emotional connection. And then the design can follow from that.
Right. So, I mean, in terms of, we'll talk about how you identify the potential consumer, but what are some of the questions you might ask? Like, so let's say I'm starting a new wine brand. What are the questions you would ask me to kind of make sure that you are evoking that right kind of story and feeling?
Sure. So the questions I'm going to ask a new client coming in is going to vary. Sometimes clients come to me and they have a product that's already out on the market and maybe it's just not achieving what they hoped it would, but they might have a lot of data on who is buying it right now. They could have a lot of research that maybe they did focus groups. On the other hand, sometimes I'll have people coming to me at the other end of things. They're just at a farmer's market. They've been selling a few hundred or a few thousand products, and they don't really have that sort of data. So I'm going to ask them, for instance, a new product owner, what their intention is, what they want people to feel about the product, what makes their product different, what in their mind makes it special, why would somebody buy their product as opposed to a competitor? And those are the kinds of things that I'll ask to get started. But my first step is doing a lot of research to actually answer those questions on my own, on my side as well.
Sure. And then, I think, we think about brands within this space and we think about specific demographics that they may appeal to. So how do you quantify that? I mean, do you do it the traditional way with focus groups, or is there how do you kind of assess the who you are talking to?
Yeah, that's a really fun part of the project. And it's really crucial because you need to figure out who's going to buy this, who's going to be interested in this product, and why. So part of that is doing a lot of reading. There's research companies out there that look at trends in the market. So I might get those research reports and I'll see, oh, this group of people are more likely to be interested in this kind of product these days,
Mm.
whereas before they might have been interested in something else. So I want to appeal to those sorts of people. Or I might say, in my research, I might see, well, here's this unmet need. This group is looking for this kind of a thing. They're not getting it right now. So this is how I'm going to craft my story to reach those people instead. You mentioned Libra. That was a really good example. Our research showed that millennials were starting to turn away from alcohol. They still wanted to go out. They still wanted to socialize, but they didn't want the hangovers, etc., that are associated with alcohol. And so it made sense that these are the people, in this case, that we want to tell our story to. So we crafted a brand around that market.
Yeah, no, I think Libra is a great example, and obviously it's had amazing success, with the LCBO and Costco launch recently. But I look at the cans too, and I see the appeal to the millennial, but I also see that they don't feel such a big departure from traditional craft beer either. So it's great connection to for what people like me want to moderate our alcohol consumption, but we don't want to feel like we're not drinking beer when we're having non-alcoholic beer. So
That's exactly.
amazing. So obviously Libra is one of your babies. So what are some of the other kind of success stories that you've had within your portfolio?
So right now I'm working on a really, really interesting product. It's a small craft cider. It's been out for a couple of
Mm.
years. And I have this thing where my favorite project is always whatever I'm working on at the moment. I
Right.
work alone, so I only take one or two projects at a time so I can really focus on the details. And whatever one I'm working on right now always becomes my favorite.
Mm.
And it's definitely this cider project. Thinking about it constantly. Libra is one of my other recent favorite products and projects that I worked on just because they're wonderful people. I love the way it turned out and I love the success that they've had too.
Well, I thank you. I think, really we look at the success of craft, in the food and drink space.
Mhm.
But really, we know that great design is part of it and great kind of connecting. So people like yourself are a great part of this kind of food and drink landscape. And I want to just thank you for your time and celebrate the good work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.